Let's review unit conversions. Now, over on the left side of the screen, you'll notice I've got some conversion relationships. We're going to get to those in just a minute. But for now, let's just talk for a moment about why unit conversions work. How can we do this? It has to do with the idea of being able to multiply something by the number 1, right? When you multiply a value by the number 1, we don't change its value. So just a simple example, 4 times 1 equals 4, right? It equals the same thing when you multiply it by 1. Now, with unit conversions, what we take advantage of is the fact that any value over itself equals 1. So if I have 3 over 3, that value equals 1, right? So if I multiply 4 times 3 over 3, it's the same as multiplying 4 times the number 1, and we just get 4 on the other side here. So since a value over itself, two equivalent values, let me say it that way, are equal to 1, two equivalent values over one another equal to 1, then we can take that value over itself and multiply it by another number without changing its value. And so in that way, when we have a unit conversion, like for example, 12 inches equals 1 foot, if I put 12 inches over 1 foot, that has the overall value of 1, right? Because 12 inches is equal to 1 foot, just like 3 is equal to 3 right here. So 3 over 3 equals 1, 12 inches over 1 foot equals 1. And so then I can multiply that times another value, and it won't change the value of that other value. So that's why unit conversions work. The other thing that you kind of need to keep in mind whenever you are doing unit conversions is whenever you were working with variables in algebra, if you remember, if you have something like this, 8xy, which remember is just 8 times x times y, and you put that over 4y, because these y values are the same, they cancel out, right? And this 4 would go into the 8 2 times, because remember fractions are just division, right? So this is 8x divided by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so this whole thing simplifies down to just be 2x, right? This 4 will go into this 8 2 times, and the y's cancel out. So we're going to use that fact as well. And so you can think about your units here, this foot unit and this inches unit right here. Think of that as a variable, and those variables are going to cancel out if you get one over the other in a fraction. Okay, so with that in mind, let's do a few unit conversions just to practice this and make sure we understand how to do it. Let's start off with a simple one, and we're just going to do 24 inches. We want to convert 24 inches to 1 foot. All right. So if we know we want to convert inches to feet, then we need a conversion relationship that shows us how many inches are equal to a certain number of feet, right? And so we have that right here, 12 inches equals 1 foot. And so we're going to use that. We're going to multiply that conversion relationship. We're going to make what we call a unit multiplier out of that. And we're going to multiply it times 24 inches. So 24 inches times, remember we said we can do this because we're going to put one value over another value, and those two values are equal to one another, so it's going to effectively be 1 that we're multiplying by. So what do we want to put on top? Do we want to put 12 inches? Are we wanting to multiply by 12 inches over 1 foot, right? That's equivalent to 1, since those are equal to one another. But so is 1 foot over 12 inches, right? So which one do we want to put on top here when we're doing this unit conversion? Well, remember the idea where I said one variable over another cancels, they cancel one another out. What we're wanting to cancel out here is the inches unit, because we're wanting to end up with the feet units, right? So we're going to put feet on top, since that's what we want to end up with, and we're going to put inches on the bottom because that's what we want to cancel out. And you can think of this 24 inches as 24 inches over 1, right? We're multiplying two fractions together, and when you multiply two fractions together, you multiply the numerators together over the denominators multiplied together. So in essence, this is going to be 24 inches times 1 foot on the top, and 1 times 12 inches on the bottom. And these inches units are going to cancel out, right? And so we have we could also say, I guess these ones here are going to cancel out. And we have 24 divided by 12, which is 2. And the only unit we're left with is the feet unit. So we have 2 feet as our final answer there, right? So we normally don't write all of this out. We just recognize over here on this part, whenever we multiply 24 inches times the unit multiplier, that inches do cancel out. We recognize that because 12 is on the bottom of the fraction and 24 is on the top, that 12 has to be divided into the 24 to give us the 2. But this literally is what's going on, right? The numerators are being multiplied together and the denominators are being multiplied together, and then we cancel out anything that we can. All right, so that's the basics behind the way unit conversions work, how we use unit multipliers to convert from one unit to the other. Let's try another simple example. This time we'll throw in a decimal just to make it a little more complicated. 3.3 inches, and we want to convert that to centimeters. All right. Now, this time we need a relationship between centimeters and inches. So we're going to use that relationship right there. And we know that since we know that 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch, we're going to multiply by 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. Again, we put inches on the bottom because we want inches to cancel out and we want to be left with this centimeters unit, right? And so here, when we multiply the numerators together, again, this is 3.3 inches over 1. Multiplying the numerators together, we have 3.3 times 2.54. Now, you may be better at math than I am, but I have to use a calculator for that. So let's just pull up our calculator real quick here and punch that in. So that's going to be 3.3 times 2.54. That gives us an answer of 8.382. So we've got 8.382. The inches canceled out, so the only unit we're left with is centimeters. So this would be 3.3 inches in centimeters, right? That's how we do that unit conversion. Now, sometimes we want to convert from one unit to another, and we don't have a direct correlation like we have, centimeters to inches or inches to feet. And so, for example, what if we wanted to do a bigger unit conversion? We wanted to do something like converting miles to inches. All right, so let's try that. What if we want to see how many inches are in 4.5 miles? All right, now this time we're going to have to use 2 unit multipliers in order to figure out the final answer. We need to go from miles all the way to inches, right? But we don't have a relationship over here that it tells us directly how many inches are in a mile. What we have is we know how many feet are in a mile, and then we know how many inches are in a foot, right? So we're going to use those 2 conversion relationships together. We're going to do 2 unit multipliers to figure out our final answer here. So 4.5 miles. So we're first going to have to convert miles to feet using this, right? And let me remove that just so we can see those a little more clearly. 4.5 miles, we want to convert from miles to feet. And so we're going to say that, we're going to say that on the top of our unit multiplier here, we want to put feet. So 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile, right? And our mile units will cancel out. But again, remember, we're trying to eventually get to inches. That's the final goal. So we're going to multiply by another unit multiplier, this time using this fact that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Now we want to end up with inches. We want feet to cancel out. So we're going to put inches on the top and we're going to put feet on the bottom. So our feet units cancel out. And so this time, what happens again, all of our numerators are multiplied together and we have 4.5 times 5,280 times 12. We've just got ones on the bottom of the fraction there, so we don't really have to worry about that. But let's do the math with this. 4.5 times 5,280 times 12 for a final answer of 285,120. 285,120 inches, right? Again, that's the only unit that's left. All the other units canceled out. So we ended up with the unit that we wanted based on what the initial problem asked us to do. And we've done it. We've converted from miles, 4.5 miles to inches. This would be our answer. Let's do one more just to get a little more complicated with combining these unit multipliers together. This time, let's say we want to go from 50,672 seconds and we want to convert that to days. All right, so how do we go from seconds to days? So looking up here, we see that we've got a relationship between seconds, let me not put a box around it, seconds and minutes right here. So that'll get us to minutes from seconds. And then from minutes, we can go convert to hours using this relationship. And then finally, we can go from hours to days, which is the final unit that we want to end up with, right? So we're going to do it in that order. We're going to multiply this value here. Again, thinking of this as being over 1, we're going to multiply it times 60, we want the 60 seconds to be on the bottom and the minute on the top because we want that to cancel out, right? So 1 minute over 60 seconds times, then we're going to convert, so those seconds will cancel out and we'll end up with a unit of minutes, and then we're going to convert that to hours by saying that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So 1 hour over 60 minutes, our minute units cancel out, and then finally we need to convert to days, and we know that 1 day is equal to 24 hours. So that will allow our hour units to cancel out. And so when we do the math for this, again, we're multiplying all of our our numerators together, and then divided by all of our denominators multiplied together. But here's the quick way to do this in a calculator. Any number that you see on top, you're going to multiply by that number, and any number that you see on the bottom, you're going to divide by that number, all right? You can always ignore the ones because they're not going to affect your calculation, because if you multiply or divide by a 1, it doesn't change the value. So let's punch this into our calculator. We have 50,672, and since this first 60 here is on the bottom of the fraction, we're going to divide by that. So 50,672 divided by 60 from the 60 seconds there. And then our next number is also on the bottom of the fraction, so we need to divide by that 60 as well. So we're going to do divided by, again, another 60. And then finally, we have a 24 on the bottom of the next fraction, so we're going to do divided by 24. And finally, we'll hit equal at the end of that. We can see up top what the full calculation was, right? 50,672 divided by 60, divided by 60, divided by 24. I don't want to write out that whole number, so we're going to round it. We'll just round it to 3 decimal places, and we'll say it's 0.586, 0.586. And all of our units canceled out except for this day unit here. So 50,672 seconds is equal to 0.586 days, or about half a day, right? Pretty cool that you can do that with unit conversions. Now, here's the thing. In chemistry, we're going to do this all the time, all right? We're not going to use these units that we're so familiar with right here. We're going to be units that maybe seem a little strange to us, units that we haven't used as often, units like molarity, moles, joules. We'll have some units that are familiar, like kilograms and meters and things like that. But a lot of the units will be units that we haven't used a lot, but it's still just unit conversions. If that clicks with us, that we're doing unit conversions over and over, and we understand how to do this here, it's just going to make our lives so much easier when it comes to chemistry. Okay, so make sure you understand this. If this is still confusing to you, I highly recommend that you go to someplace like Khan Academy, or there are many resources online that will walk you through doing unit conversions. So do some more practice with those unit conversions to make sure you're comfortable with it before you begin the class.